Let's grow some food. This is Dr. Fox picking up with Lesson 3, Part 2. We're going to follow the development of the peas. As a reminder, in Lesson 2, we planted these peas. I'm going to replay some of the important points as a reminder, and then we'll follow the germination all the way through getting them in the ground. I pre-soaked these. I always pre-soak peas and beans. Okay, now that I got my holes in place, I'm just going to pop these down into the hole. I'm going to use my finger to push them down. Peas like to be a little on the deep side. Kind of a rule of thumb is that you shouldn't plant a seed any deeper than about 3 times the width of the seed. Okay, now I got them all in. I'm going to cover them over all nice. When you pre-soak seeds, whether you're putting them in a wet paper towel in a baggie or just in a little dish overnight, you shave at least 3 days off of the sprouting time and sometimes more. Here we are at day 4 and most of them have popped up. Make a note that they don't pop up tip first, they pop up neck first, and then they unfold as the tip clears the ground. That could be disconcerting, especially with beans where it's more obvious. Here we are at day 6, and I did not get these off the heating pad fast enough, so they're on the leggy side, but since they have tendrils to support them, I'm not overly concerned about them being too leggy. Here we are at day 8. You can see the leaves have filled out nicely, as well as the first tendrils coming up. They're ready to grab onto something. Now, beans don't have tendrils, but cucurbits do, and they will reach for anything they can to grab onto to help them climb. I'm in the greenhouse here and wanted to kind of show you the structure of this planter that's made out of cedar fence posts. This is a really cheap way to make some planters, and they last a long time. This one's, probably 8 years old. We'll talk about soil more in another lesson, but what you see here are a lot of leaves that are on top of this soil. Leaves are your friend. Your leaves will feed your worms will make compost droppings. That's how you continue to add new nutrients to your soil, as well as it providing a mulch layer to help keep the weeds down. Let me show you what this dirt looks like. You can see it's crumbly. It has hardly any sand in it and not a lot of clay either. That's what good soil looks like. Something funny here. I wonder what that is. Oh, look, it's a potato. I missed that one. So the last thing I grew in here were potatoes, and you don't always find them. So now I'm just gently making a trough here and kind of clearing the way, making it a little looser for me to be able to plant the peas. Oh look, here's one of my workers now. See this beautiful worm? Your best friend are worms, which is one of the reasons why I'm being gentle as I do this. I don't want to cut or hurt my worms because they're fertilizing my soil. Okay, let's get some peas out of here. I usually first try to just scrunch up these cells and see if I can pop them out easily. When that doesn't work, a little tiny shovel will allow us to get these plants out of here without damaging their roots. Last thing you want to do is pull a plant and leave the roots in place. That is a death sentence. So now I'm just going to place these down in here. You want to make sure that you're planting them deep enough that when you pull the soil back around, you're not covering up the plant itself. The exception to that is tomatoes that really like being planted very deep. But with most plants, you want the surface of the soil as it is in the starter pack to be the same as once you've planted it. I'm going to get this one up out of here, and I'm going to show you what these roots look like. The peas have very robust roots. Now remember, this is only 10 days old, right? Plus the extra soaking time. Remember when I said you soak your seeds, it goes much faster. Notice that I'm not splitting these peas apart. If I were using, oh, say, kale or collards that are planted like this, I would be breaking them individually out of there. But peas only need to be 2 or 3 inches apart, and they're perfectly happy being tight together. In fact, it helps them with their structure holding on to each other. Always water after you've planted something, and it's not just to get them wet, it's also to get all the air bubbles out, which can confuse the plant and helps that soil pack back down a little bit. Now I'm going to pat this down and kind of make sure everything's situated in there. This is more for my hands to know that everything feels right in there than anything else. Hopefully this doesn't make you motion sick, but now I need to pull the camera up and show you that I'm bringing this net down for the peas to hold on to, and then I'll resituate this light. Pacific Northwest, it is dark in the wintertime, so I've got some artificial lights here, and they're going to have to be pretty close to help these peas out. But you can see what I did is I've let the peas touch the net so they don't have to go looking for it, but believe me, they will go looking for it. We tend to think about plants as being stationary. They are not. Here's another look at the planter so that you can get a sense of how you would build it. I have lined this with some landscape fabric. It just helps keep the dirt inside. And that's it. We have planted our peas. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, if you'll recall, when we first planted our seeds, I gave you a peek of the beans and said I'd be having some beans soon. This is what it looked like then. Now look at all my beautiful beans. My New Year's resolution for the last 3 years has been grow what you eat what you grow. And I'm still learning how to find the balance, but I'll tell you this, having fresh green beans in the middle of January, priceless. In lesson 4, we'll do some harvesting. See you then.